We walk past their bedroom door every day. Same walls, same furniture, same space. But what if everything has changed? What if the room itself has been screaming secrets we've been too blind to see? Welcome to Silent Surveillance. Today, we're decoding the Roomiko, where the bedroom becomes a mirror of the soul, reflecting every internal storm, every silent battle happening inside your teenager's mind. We've spent years studying this. Hundreds of cases, thousands of photographs. Teenagers don't just live in their rooms, they transform them into external hard drives of their emotional state. Every object moved, every light dimmed, every poster removed is a message in a language most never learned to read. Today, we're revealing 5 changes that matter most, and exactly what to do when you see them. 1. The light shift. Let's start with lighting. We walk into their room and it feels different, but we can't pinpoint why. The answer: they've changed how they control light. When a teenager who kept curtains open suddenly keeps them perpetually closed, when they replace bright bulbs with dim ones, when they live in permanent twilight, this is the first signal. Light represents exposure. When we're emotionally vulnerable, we instinctively reduce illumination. The room becomes a cave, and the cave becomes safe. But sometimes we see the opposite: excessive artificial light at odd hours, LED strips running all night, desk lamps blazing at 3 a.m., screens glowing constantly. They're flooding the space with light to drown out thoughts that come when everything goes quiet. Radical changes in lighting preference signal radical internal shifts. When the light changes, something inside has changed first. How to respond: don't say "why is it so dark in here?" That's confrontation. Instead, create adjacent invitations. "I'm going for a walk, want to come?" We're offering escape from the cave without forcing it. Bring them something that requires light: a book, a puzzle, and let them choose to engage. For those flooding their space with light at night, establish evening routines that don't require eye contact. Car rides, cooking together, safe containers where conversations happen naturally. Acknowledge change through adaptation, not confrontation. 2. The reorganization paradox. Now we move to organization. People see a messy room and assume laziness. They see a pristine room and assume maturity. But we've learned to read deeper. This works both ways. A previously organized teenager letting their room descend into chaos. We're watching external manifestation of internal overwhelm. When the mind can't organize thoughts, the room follows suit. It's not rebellion, it's surrender. But the opposite is equally concerning. When a casual teenager becomes obsessively neat, when every object has its exact place, when they clean compulsively, we're witnessing desperate attempts to control something, anything, because everything inside feels uncontrollable. The key is recognizing change. The baseline doesn't matter, the shift does. Both directions speak the same language of distress. How to respond: don't demand they clean up or question sudden neatness. Offer help without judgment. "I'm organizing my space this weekend. If you want company tackling yours, I'm available." No pressure. For the obsessively organized teen, share your experience. "When I'm stressed, I clean everything. It helps me feel like something is under control." We're holding up a mirror without accusing. Respect their organizational choices, even when extreme. Watch for escalation over weeks. That's when it becomes more than a phase. 3. The object migration. Objects are identity markers for teenagers. They're comfort anchors, pieces of self made visible. Object migration happens when meaningful items suddenly disappear, move, or multiply. Photos of friends coming down from walls, trophies hidden in closets, instruments pushed under beds. Each disappearance represents identity being questioned or rejected. They're removing reminders of who they were or who they fear they can no longer be. Then new objects appear. Locks on drawers, boxers labeled private, items pushed against doors. These create barriers between their inner world and everyone else. Sometimes everything meaningful clusters into one corner. Consolidation of self, taking everything that matters and protecting it in a single, defendable location. Worst pattern: meaningful objects disappear entirely. The room becomes generic, personality-free, like a hotel. This is dissociation from space. When they stop caring about their environment, they've often stopped caring about themselves. How to respond: don't ask "why did you take down all your photos?" Use memory invitations instead. "Remember when you and Sarah went to that concert? That was such a great night." Create space for them to share why that connection feels different now. If new locks appear, respect them completely. Leave small notes, occasionally brief affirmations. "Thinking of you. I'm here." Acknowledge privacy while reminding them they're not alone. For object clustering, recognize it as coping and respect that boundary. When rooms become personality-free, bring something small that connects to who they were. "Found this book you loved. Thought you might want it back." Gentle reminders that their past self still matters. We've covered 3 changes and responses. But sometimes these signals intensify. The darkness gets darker, chaos more chaotic, barriers more impenetrable. The final 2 changes show us when watching becomes waiting too long, and when patience becomes neglect. What we're about to reveal will show you exactly when the situation has escalated beyond casual observation. Welcome back to Silent Surveillance. We've revealed 3 changes and responses: light shift, reorganization, paradox, and object migration. Now the 2 final changes, the ones that tell us when the situation has escalated to crisis. 4. The rhythm disruption. This change is invisible unless you're paying attention to time. Every room has a rhythm. When the door opens, closes. When music plays, silence falls. Lights go on, darkness arrives. For years, we know this rhythm intimately. Then suddenly, it shatters. They sleep during the day, awake all night, or they're in their room by 6 p.m. and don't emerge until noon. The door that was always open is now always closed. Music that played constantly goes silent, or silence gets filled with noise at 3 a.m. When internal emotional rhythms get disrupted by stress, trauma, depression, or anxiety, external rhythms mirror that chaos. The room becomes a time capsule operating on a different clock than the rest of the house. The rhythm breaks before the words come, sometimes months before, and rhythm changes are hard to fake. Someone can clean their room to satisfy parents. They can claim everything's fine, but they can't mask when they're actually occupying their space, how long they stay, what hours feel safe. The body doesn't lie about circadian disruption. How to respond? Don't treat this as discipline. You need to go to bed at a reasonable hour, treats the symptom while ignoring the disease. Acknowledge the rhythm change without judgment and adapt your availability to match. If they're awake at night, occasionally stay up yourself, not to monitor, but to be present. Can't sleep either. Want some tea? Meet them in their new rhythm instead of demanding they return to yours. For teenagers, retreating to rooms earlier and earlier. Create threshold moments, brief low-pressure interactions right before they disappear. Before you head in, want to help me with this for 5 minutes? Small doses of connection that respect new boundaries. Watch for escalation. If rhythm disruption persists beyond 2 weeks, if accompanied by other changes, if they're missing school or important commitments, this isn't teenage rebellion. This is circadian distress, often a red flag for depression, anxiety disorders, or substance issues. Move from gentle adaptation to direct, compassionate confrontation. I've noticed your sleep schedule has completely changed, and I'm concerned. This isn't about rules, this is about your well-being. Can we talk? And if talking to me feels too hard, can we find someone else you trust? 5. The boundary evolution. The final change is about boundaries, how they manage the threshold of their room, and what it reveals about their internal state. How do they respond when we knock? Is there a new lock? Do they block the door with furniture? Have they created visual barriers just inside the entrance so you can't in even when the door opens? Some teenagers move toward complete isolation, door always locked. Do not disturb signs, hostile reactions to any intrusion. Boundary hardening often indicates they're protecting something, a secret, shame, transformation they're not ready to share, or emotional space they desperately need. But we also see boundary dissolution. The door never fully closed. The teenager who seems to want someone to check but can't ask directly. This is a silent invitation, a test to see if we care enough to notice. Then there's inconsistent boundary behavior. Rules change without warning. One day, they want absolute privacy. The next day, they're hurt, we didn't come in. This isn't manipulation, it's confusion. They don't know what they need, so boundaries fluctuate wildly. They're testing, searching, trying to figure out how to be both independent and supported. Boundaries are conversations. When they change how they guard their space, they're trying to tell us something about how safe they feel, how much they trust, what they're hiding or hoping we'll discover. How to respond. For boundary hardening: locked doors, hostility, complete isolation. Respond with consistent availability without intrusion. Establish a pattern. Knock once a day, same time, same gentle approach, just checking in. I'm here if you need anything. If they respond with hostility, don't take it personally. Okay, I'll check again tomorrow. I love you. Consistency shows we're not giving up, but we're not violating their space. This predictable pattern of respectful presence can become what makes them feel safe enough to open up. For boundary dissolution, the door always slightly open. Accept the invitation carefully. Your door is open. Mind if I come in for a minute? Acknowledge their signal while respecting their agency. For inconsistent boundaries, name the pattern without judgment. I've noticed sometimes you want company and sometimes you need space. Can we create a signal? Door cracked means I'm open. Door closed means I need time alone. Help them communicate what they might not understand themselves. Critical caveat: if boundary hardening is accompanied by the other for changes, darkness, chaos, or hyperorganization, object removal, and rhythm disruption, we're not looking at healthy individuation. We're looking at isolation driven by pain. We must be willing to override the boundary with love and concern. I know you want privacy, and I respect that, but I've noticed a lot of changes, and I'm genuinely worried. We need to talk with me, with a counselor, with someone. This isn't negotiable because I love you too much to watch you struggle alone. When everything changes at once, when multiple changes appear simultaneously and persist for weeks, we're witnessing psychological crisis unfolding in real time. If you see 3 or more of these changes happening at once and they persist beyond 2 weeks, professional help isn't optional, it's essential. I've noticed a lot of changes in your space and patterns. I'm not judging, but I am concerned. These changes tell me something is really hard right now, and I think we need someone who can help us understand what you're going through. Can we find a therapist together? The room can tell us something is wrong, but it can't provide intervention that trained professionals can offer. Our job is to be therapists at S, to be observers who care enough to act on what we see. Final words. 5 changes that reveal what they won't say. 5 response strategies that open doors instead of slamming them shut. The room is speaking, but it's not giving orders. It's offering clues. It's inviting investigation. It's asking us to see what's hidden in plain sight. Your teenager's bedroom is a gallery of their inner world. You've just learned to read the art. The question now is, what will you do with that knowledge? Will you use it to surveil or to understand? To control or to connect? To judge or to love more deeply? The room echoes everything they're feeling. What we do next determines whether that echo becomes a conversation or just noise in an empty space. This is Silent Surveillance, reminding you the most important changes happen in silence. But they don't have to stay silent forever. What will you notice today? And more importantly, how will you respond? We'll see you in the next investigation.